Thank you for staying with us. Let's begin with the rising cost of living in Nigeria. The campaign for equal rights and opportunities for all Nigerians, SERN, says the policies and programs of the federal government in making life difficult for people and driving more citizens into poverty. The group's secretary, Francis Odier, pointed out that the lingering fuel scarcity and sudden increase in pump price have subjected Nigerians to unbearable hardship and further impoverished the masses. Today, there was a protest in Edo and some other parts of the country. People were said to have been buying fuel for 650 naira a litre outside Lagos. So if Lagos is this chaotic, if we have this kind of transport situation, if you have this kind of situation in Lagos, you can imagine what we're going to have outside Lagos.
Yes, the Ekiti area is being sold for 400 naira per litre now. Some days back, I think on Friday, it was 310 naira per litre. But it's gone to 400 now. And that's before the official deregulation of the downstream sector. There is no explanation for what is going on. Ordinarily, so many heads should have rolled. But our president does not believe that heads should roll. As far as it's concerned, in every situation, the head must stay stationary. But we all know that for us to have efficiency in the system, there must be consequences for bad behavior, consequences for incompetence. Because the president appointed people to work for him, to spare him embarrassment that could happen in the course of his work. But if some people behave like whatever happens, nothing will happen to them, then we are in trouble. Look at what happened with the contaminated fuel. By now, we should have been reading that
some people, the names of the culprits involved, yes, and people that are suspended.
We should have heard that people were jailed. Is an offense for which some people should be in jail, not just even to fire them. You fire them and still put them in the slammer. Yeah. It's just normal.
Because the ripple effect, what that thing cost, the engines that would have been destroyed and
look at this scarcity. It caused scarcity across the country.
Yeah.
It caused serious scarcity across the country. So if by your actions you subject innocent Nigerians to unbearable pain, then you deserve to pay. But we didn't see anything like that. Now, at this time when the government should actually leave office on a high, what we are seeing is a situation in which more and more Nigerians are slipping into the poverty cycle. They are moving into the poverty cycle. That should not be the case. And I hope that some of these issues can still be resolved before the president leaves office, so that his time will not be signposted by these problems that have cropped up just as he's about to leave office. Because Nigerians will remember this unbearable pain. We have never had to buy petrol at this kind of pricing. So many people will not remember that for a long time we had stability in the sector. They will remember that just before the president left office, this was what happened, And if you tell them now about after 2015, we had stability, they will not listen. They will point to what they are seeing now. So that's the more reason the president can still redeem himself on this matter, get this problem solved once and for all, ease the pain on our people. These are terrible times for our people.
Mojit, some people will say that, look, any government will try to even, placate the people as election year, so that they can favor your party. But the APC-led government seem to be so unperturbed, because if the better part of last year, towards the end of last year, there was this scarcity, you allowed it to linger into January. And now we are coming to the end of January, and this thing will definitely move with us with February to February.
I believe there is a calculated attempt by some enemies of Nigeria to deliberately, by their actions, inflict pains and hardship on Nigerians. Now, we can catalog the events that are deliberately targeted at the masses. Forget about fuel crisis, in December, there was a notice that for vehicle users, normally who do third-party insurance, you have to have an insurance. The third party is the one that just allow me to pass 5,000 naira. And there was a notice that this has been increased from 5,000 to 15,000 naira. It is when you want to renew your vehicle papers that you will know. What to pay 5,000 for now is moving to 15,000. I've never seen that kind of increment before. And nobody is saying anything. And it was approved by the NICOM. That's the apex body for insurance and brokers in Nigeria. Most people who fall into this category are commercial drivers and private vehicle owners who cannot afford the comprehensive insurance. They just do that basic minimum of 5,000. Now, the redesigning of the Naira notes, the kind of hardship people faced over the weekend, in the whole of this Ikeja axis, I can count the number of bank ATMs that were working. In fact, at a particular Zenith Bank's ATM, people were beating each other to be able to access the ATM.
Today, no old notes, no new notes. That's what the banks will tell you.
So,
that's what
you have your money. You can't.
Let's quickly take our viewers down to Kano State. It's a season of political rallies, and we could take you to Kano State, and people will have opportunity to join us on our other platforms.
Aid on Nigeria. So, fuel, I was at Peru, Remo, yesterday. This one is not, I was looking for the venue of the party I went for, a friend's mom's 70th birthday in Peru. Lo and behold, we are looking for the venue, so I now told my driver to move to a filling station so that we can ask the guys queuing there to buy fuel. So I used the opportunity to look at the meter. In fact, they thought we wanted to buy. They said it's 400 naira per liter. Lo and behold, I saw it and I snapped it. In Peru, Remo, 400 naira per liter.
You can buy it. If you can
now,
buy it,
in January, electricity distribution companies, DISCO, increased their tariff by about 10 naira without telling customers. So if you've been recharging 10,000 naira before and it was giving you probably 70 units, now you should buy 10,000, what it will give you is about 50-something units. So it's, deliberate attempt to inflict hardship. Now people cannot touch gas, you can't touch kerosene. Kerosene is 900 naira per liter.
Yes.
Should we go to
start felling trees.
Charcoal or what? Or firewood. So it's there are some that are quite avoidable. That people, they can still hold on to. I don't see the need in this redesigning of Naira notes that is so compelling that it must be done now.
Oh, it's the haste that is the problem.
Yeah. Peter is calling us from Taraba State. Thank you for joining us, Peter. Oh, I think we lost Peter.
It's the haste. And it is that haste that is making banks to cut corners. Because they know you are scared that you will be caught. With so much money with you, before the deadline, after the deadline. So now that desperation that people don't want to lose their money is what is causing banks to cut corners, and the fact that it's not enough. Today there was so much bedlam in one of the First Bank branches in Ekiti.
Juliet, let's just move directly to the Naira note controversy. The scarcity of new Naira notes in Nigeria is creating more problems and controversies. A restaurant owner in Ganaja area of Lokoja in Kogi State detained 2 of her customers for hours due to their failure to pay her for the 2 plates of food they ate with new Naira notes. Rather, give them their balance. She reminded them of the new CBN policy, insisting that they either pay her with the new notes or wash plates as an atonement for the food they ate. Jide, another twist to this. Well, they told us some people even stopped selling food since last Friday.
I was here yesterday. In this area, people are not selling food because they didn't want to be paid
with the old
notes. And given that the deadline was near, many of them felt, what is the point?
Puts you through the stress of collecting the old notes.
I'm not able to swap it with the new notes. So they didn't want to find themselves in an embarrassing situation, so they stopped selling. There are other people who provide services who also chose to not open shop for the same reason. There are others, like even bus conductors, who are also rejecting old notes, and for that reason many people got stranded. But this is a particularly ridiculous situation. The CBN has been warning that if anybody rejects the old notes before the expiration of the deadline, that such people will be prosecuted. But this is just an empty threat, because when people realize that if they cannot change the old notes, if they can't swap the old notes for new ones, they will lose their money. They will take drastic steps to ensure that they do not have to receive those old notes. This is the situation that we
find ourselves. How about banks that you got to today and people are saying, oh, they can't pay you with the new notes, they can't pay you with the old notes?
Yes.
So they're not going to pay you, and people have started resorting to go to POS, and POS, they've started selling a Naira.
Yeah, of course, the POS, even before now, their services were not free. So with people desperate, you know, ordinarily this thing should have been for 6 months. But because some people convince themselves that, look, politicians will not be able to find the money to buy votes if you do the Naira repainting at this time, because it's not a redesign. They are fooling themselves that politicians, if people who are doing parties can have access to it, how much more a politician? I said this yesterday because, look, Nigerians need to be informed. A lot of Nigerians are ignorant. This is a fact. It's not, I'm not diminishing Nigerians. This is a fact.
An average politician would not have that kind of problem.
People, you see, when you are jubilating that, it's going to stop somebody from winning an election, you are jubilating, you are fooling yourself. That person that you think will not win, he will have access to the cash that he needs.
More than you.
It is the ordinary man who will not have access. In Kano State, out of 44 local governments, 17 do not have banks at all.
Yeah.
So what do you do in such a situation? I'm happy that the president himself admitted that this thing is bringing hardship to Nigerians.
No, look at the new notes now.
Yeah, that's it.
Look at the new notes.
These are brand new notes that these guys are. They are.
So if you think
so how are these ones
in Nigeria have access?
Who are these ones compared to politicians who can pay 100 million for a form?
This one now, if you want to buy 50,000 naira, you pay 62,000.
That is it.
12,000 naira difference, and you have access to it in any party in Lagos right now. I can tell you that for free.
No,
anywhere you go to, if you just want to buy 50,000 naira new notes, you pay 62.
I was coming there yesterday at that party. The one guy was busy hawking it. I mean, he has bills with him. He was selling 20,000 notes of 200 naira for 30,000. Of course, some people were buying.
He was even generous to you people.
No, 10,000. No, that's for 20,000.
He could have sold it for 20,000 more. People will buy it to still buy it because people are desperate.
He has stacks of these new notes with him. Selling.
No, the point that we are even making is, if these little little known or unknown people
can have access to it,
people that you don't even know them, we can't recognize some of them in these pictures. If they can have access to all of this money, you think a politician who probably even has shares in banks,
that the bank will even take it to him,
who operates,
the bank
who is close to
him.
bank MDs, will not have access to it? It is the poor man that is going to suffer. I'm happy that the president himself and the politician does not think. The politician is a smart man. As we are planning it, he's ahead of you. So this kind of policies, it is the poor that will affect. And I'm happy the president admitted it, that poor people, that he has seen that poor people are suffering as a result of this. This is the point we are making. We are concerned about those people in the rural areas who have no access to
states like Borno State that have limited number of banks.
Ganduje, the governor of Kano State, went to meet the president in Daura yesterday and told him, he said, Mr. President, out of 44 local governments, he said less than 20 have the president.
17.
Only 17
don't have banks at all.
Banks. No, it says only 17.
So it's difficult for everybody to be looking at it from the precinct of Lagos. If you are in Lagos or in Abuja,
they don't know how bad it is.
So now I want to enter.
The situation is similar in Katsina.
I want to enter Danfo.
It's similar in Sokoto. Are they not Nigerians?
You want to enter a bus from Lagos to Ibadan, and you extend your POS, I mean your ATM card to the conductor. It will slap you and tell you to get down. Or you expect conductors to be carrying POS, or you expect a conductor to be transferred.
You want to buy meat in the market.
You want to buy meat.
Have you observed that even today, that people have been finding it difficult to transfer money? Today,
now,
of course,
it's been very tough.
A lot of traffic. We've not perfected the technology. That's the problem.
No, before we can even say we have the infrastructure must be in place. We should be sure these things are done incrementally, but because it is meant to achieve a disingenuous end. Tomorrow we'll be able to hear what Shehu Sani said about this. I think many people know why this thing is happening. You can't hoodwink Nigerians. You can't do 7 years without thinking that in those 7 years you can come up with a game-changing thing like this. You now towards the end of the president's administration, you went to convince him, and he too thought that people who are doing money laundering, they are the only ones who keep sacks of money at home. Now the same president has said he has seen that it is indeed that poor people are suffering as a result of this because they don't know bank MDs. They can't tip people to get into the bank to take money. Some of them have never entered a banking hall in their lives, and they do legitimate business. If you see the quantum of business that is done in our country through agriculture, the bulk of it is done in the rural areas. Their contribution to the GDP is humongous. So these are people making their money. They don't. Some of them, there's no president of government in their communities, but they are happy to work and make a decent living. They don't want to beg. Now you put them at the risk of losing what they struggled for. No government should allow that to happen. And people were telling me yesterday that they were not excited about the extension because they are saying if the extension is done and people still do not have access to this thing. This is what we have seen today with banks saying, look, we are not giving you old notes, we are not giving you new. It happened.
So somebody in the rural area, for example, now have to travel to the city center just because he wants to change money.
And that's a big risk now.
And you are saying that your agent bankers that you have sent all over there can only change 10,000 naira. How? Look at that boy. Look at that boy that was shown here.
As a financial expert, let's say, okay, the reason given for all this, the money, the amount, the quantum of money outside the banking sector, when they are putting it to 3.8 trillion, and for a layman like me, I would look at it that this is unhealthy. That if you have 87% of your cash outside the banking sector, that was one of the things that informed this policy.
No, there are so many things that is fueling inflation in the country. It's not per se the amount of money outside the banking sector. Our economy keeps growing. The higher the economy grows, the higher the level of on the desk transfer. Like, the governor said they have been able to retrieve 2.6 trillion back into the covers of the CBN. But it will still find its way back into the system because people will continue to mop up.
For 900.
Yes, because well, I don't know where you get it from. So the thing is, people will continue to engage in cash transactions.
Transaction, yes.
Because
it's not a crime anywhere in the world.
It is not a crime. Where there is no bank, right now, will somebody leave the farthest part of Kano to come to Kano Municipal just because he wants to
My producer just informed me that this video, that this is meant to be a banking hall, but it's not a banking hall. What they are doing here is a money swapping center. If you have old notes, you come and collect new notes at a given commission. So, you know, Nigerians in everything, we want to take advantage of it.
So where are they getting it from?
It's not a banking hall.
No, it's a bank.
No,
this is Access
bank
logo. No?
This is a bank.
Well, I want my producer to show me that money swapping center that you are talking about now in River State.
Well, this one is Access Bank.
This is Access Bank.
Yeah.
And this is Diamond. It's this particular visual that you're seeing.
Oh, they even have a police.
This one.
Yes.
The CBN has.
They hired 400 agents.
Yeah, agent bankers. I think that explains it. But you can't get more than 10,000 naira per person.
That's the point that my friend, the Speaker of Borno State, made, that the money that they sent, the governor took it upon himself to even go to villages to lead the swapping of money. But the money was not sufficient. As much as the man didn't want his people to suffer. Look, you have banks in only 4 out of 27 local governments.
There is a cap.
What can you
can't even take more than 10. You can't extend more than 10,000.
So it's not because it's not enough. You see the thing in some countries, if you want to go cashless, it can't be a sudden thing.
It has to be a gradual process.
In fact, in South Korea, they introduce incentives.
Are we ready for that?
We introduce incentives.
We do not even have the architecture, the infrastructure architecture to back it up, because you need to expand your banking applications. You need to upgrade.
Not that one that you keep sending.
Now,
sending.
I thank God I was sending money to my wife. I tried to transfer the money. It was giving me error 3 times. But before I knew it, I was debited 3 times. She only received once. Now we are still on the matter. Since 3 days ago.
It has not been reversed.
It has not been reversed. The other
Sometimes
day,
you will never get it.
The other day, I transferred money from my corporate account to my personal account, and the thing was hanging somewhere. If I didn't move it from my corporate account to my personal account for some other domestic stuff, for 3 days, the bank where it originated for said it has left their listing. They told me it's hanging somewhere with.
What if you wanted to pay for someone's
immediately?
Surgery.
So for 3 days we were on it. Before it was eventually resolved, I told them transfer the money back to the corporate account.
All right. We'll take this break, and when we come back, we'll talk more. It's still Journalist Hangout. We'll be right back after this time out. Please don't go away.
brother, my sister, do you know that winning an election is not only about getting the majority vote? For that your candidate to be declared winner of the election, he or she must secure 25% of the vote in 2/3 of all states plus the FCT to be president, and 25% of the vote in 2/3 of all local governments of a state to be governor. This is constitutional, and every presidential candidate has had to pass this threshold. Even governors have had to make this mark to get elected in their states. We live in one country with different languages, religions, and ethnic groups. This is why it is not enough to have only northern votes, or southern votes, or eastern votes, or western votes. The only way to get elected as president or governor is by gaining enough support across the country and states. Let us make sure that we know now so that we don't cause an issue tomorrow. This message is brought to you by the Center for Democracy and Development, CDD, with support from the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office, FCDO.
Haruna, Bisi, Akman, Unduka, how will I want to do on election day?
On election day, I go take my PVC. When I retire, I vote to. I broom and go put my hand for Tinubu. On election day, I go take my PVC. When I retire, I vote to. I broom and go put my hand for Tinubu.
People of Nigeria, make we all come out on election day and vote Asiwaju Bola Tinubu as president. Make Nigeria for better. Make you put your hand for APC. If party wey show broom, no forget now broom you go put your hand in. Bam!
On election day, I go take my PVC. When I retire, I vote to. I broom and go put my hand for Tinubu.
This administration will bequeath to Nigerians 4,000 megawatt of additional generating capacity. We will complete and commission the 700 megawatt Zungero hydropower plant in the first quarter of 2023. We will also see to the operationalization of the 250 megawatt Afam 3 and 300 megawatt Opai Phase 2, to mention a few. We will set the country on a stable path for 10,000 megawatt of supply energy. Today, we are at 8,000 megawatt with 5,000 on-grid and 3,000 of industrial captive off-grid.
This message is brought to you from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Thank you for staying with us. It's 25 days to the 2023 presidential general election, so to say. And I still have Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Mojid Jamiu in the studio. So, same problem, same calamity, and remain unperturbed after several similar incidents. Tragedies struck at Ojuelegba in Surulere local government area of Lagos State on Sunday when a container-laden truck fell on a commercial minibus, popularly called Kurokwe. 7 occupants died in the process. This is very, very gruesome. I saw it yesterday, and that same Ojuelegba, there's something wrong with Ojuelegba, and these containers, Lagos State will need to come out with a drastic measure to make sure these containers are well, attached to the trucks before moving out of their stations.
The truth is, we are just not doing enough. We are not doing enough. Some time ago, we said these articulated trucks should only move at night.
Yes.
But we still see, one of the reasons they did that was to stop this kind of accidents. But we still see them moving in daytime and killing our people. There is no reason why we shouldn't be able to implement our laws effectively. If we have to stop these guys moving around in daytime, we have to enforce the law.
Fully.
We have to enforce the law. And why should people, even me, sometimes when I'm driving and I'm beside a flatbed truck carrying a 50-foot container, I'm always scared because a lot of them do not clamp the container to the body of their trucks. And when you fail to clamp them, any little, even if he puts his leg, he puts one of his tires, goes into a little ditch in the middle of the road, it can easily, the container can easily fall on moving cars. So the laws are there, but we do not enforce them. There is no reason for us to be losing people in this manner. It has to stop.
It's rather unfortunate, and I think that was the only woman that was rescued there alive. I think there were reports that a woman survived after the Lasema. There's this thing they call Goliath. I mean, that moves heavy trucks. Was able to move up the distance. So the woman is in a critical condition at the A&E. But basically, like Ejide said, most of these containers are unlatched. They are supposed to be latched onto the flatbeds of those articulated vehicles that carry them. And apart from that, from some of the reports, it was discovered that an eyewitness said the recklessness of the articulated vehicle's driver led to this accident. He was trying to block the Korokwe from overtaking him. And you know, for a vehicle as big as that, if you swerve anyhow, you will lose what you have. And what I want to believe, because you won't say it is a bad road. That place is a very, very smooth road between Ojuelegba and what Fadei. At the time it was bad, but now it is very, very smooth. So if not due to recklessness on the part of the truck driver, this accident shouldn't have happened. At a point, they were told not to climb that Ojuelegba bridge.
Honestly, there was a barrier.
And they should put
the barrier, they will always break it. These guys will go there at night and break it. So they are not supposed to be passing on top of the bridge. And I think from what I'm seeing here, this one is trying to ascend the bridge. So they are not supposed to be passing that bridge. They are supposed to go through the underpass. But because normally there is traffic because of those vehicles that normally turn there. I mean, the traffic. They want to avoid that traffic, and the traffic can take you more than 10 minutes. Now, it has cost between 8 and 9 lives, needlessly. That because of the recklessness. I mean, they believe they own the roads. Those truck drivers, even those who drive the tankers too. So I think we need to enforce these our laws more. Probably go back to those rules that say they shouldn't apply the certain roads before 6 p.m.
Julie, I think in terms of enforcement of our laws, I think the Lagos State government will need to do more.
Yes.
Do more in terms of the recklessness. The part of drivers, commercial bus drivers.
Nigerians don't want to obey any law. There is a need to have some form of task force involving LASMA, civil defense, and
road safety.
Even anti-riot police, road safety, and personnel of the army. Because a lot of these guys are very violent. I don't think LASMA guys can handle them.
I'm telling them, they kill them.
Very, very violent.
So, because of that, you need better armed and better trained security personnel to deal with the situation. They can't keep killing our people the way they are doing. Sometimes these trucks will be carrying petrol and they will trip on top of the bridge, set innocent people ablaze, set many cars ablaze. This kind of accidents are avoidable. And then even the health of those vehicles. So those vehicles, we don't check the roadworthiness of vehicles before they're allowed to move around. Yet people pay for so-called roadworthiness. But in actual fact, some of those vehicles are rickety, they are not in a good state, and they are prone to accidents.
And if you unleash the VIO guys on them now, on people now, they won't find it funny because that's another kettle of fish. And finally, the ad hoc committee of the House of Representatives into the recall of old Naira notes has rejected the 10-day extension granted by the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN. The chairman of the committee, Alassane Ado-Doguwa, described the new deadline of 10 February as a political gimmick. He urged the governor of the Central Bank, Godwin Emefiele, to comply with Section 20 of the CBN Act or risk a warrant of arrests. But despite scarcity of the new Naira notes, some currency traders get them from the source to sell to partygoers. Now, Jide, last week the House of Representatives was talking about inviting, they invited the CBN governor and he did not show up. And we're talking about issuing a bench warrant. Now, talking about the extension now, because the House of Representatives and the Senate actually said it's better for the 30th of July or June, that it should just 6 months, 6 clear months away from what you have here. So why is it that CBN is saying 10 days, 10 more days, and the House of Representatives is saying no?
Yeah, because they are the representatives of our people. They are in position to know where the shoe pinches our people. People like Ado-Doguwa, they go home from time to time. If he doesn't go home...
From Kano State.
If he doesn't go home, then he risks not being re-elected. So you have to touch base as a politician. How many of those nooks and crannies of our nation can the CBN governor say he knows? These are the representatives of the people. When they came up with the earlier directive, our people, these same representatives of the people, resisted it. They said, no, this will inflict pain. This will put POS guys out of business. Then that was rescinded in a way. They increased what you can withdraw to, like, I think 500,000. So it's not, yes, the CBN has autonomy, but it does not have the monopoly of knowledge, especially about how its policies will affect our people negatively. The people, the representatives of our people in the National Assembly, they get feedbacks from the people. And it is their responsibility to convey those feedbacks to policy makers, to people in government, to the executive. That is their job. Now, when they are invited to come and explain why they want to take certain actions, there's no reason in the world to stay away. The CBN governor can't say because he has the support of the president, then disobey the National Assembly. The executive, the judiciary, they're on the same level. And there's division of labor, there is a separation of powers. You can't have a situation in which the representatives of our people, in the exercise of the powers conferred on them by the Constitution, will invite people, and then they will stay away because they think, oh, the executive controls the law enforcement agents. Therefore, maybe if they said the IG should bring you, the IG may not carry out that order. It is wrong. Emefiele has to go and face these people. Explain what you want to do in detail to them. Explain in detail, because these are the same people that if today you want to appoint a CBN governor, they have to
Approve. Yeah.
So you can't treat them with levity. You can't treat them like they do not exist. No, you can't do that. Go before them, explain why you want to do this. Some of them too have passed through the banking system. They have experience. They can come up with ideas that can even help you. Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's the point I'm making. You know, people who have succeeded in business, people who have worked with multinationals, they will have ideas. Look at the other day when Faleke was in the course of his oversight function, discovered that a revenue generating agency of government, that they still conduct business in analog module. And he said, come on, you don't even, up till now, you have not done anything to make your operations digital. He was shocked. But this is, if you did not try to find out, you will not know that things are that bad. And that's why we are not making enough money. So the CBN governor, just the same way that he didn't think that it was necessary to even tell the finance minister, who is a member of the board of the CBN, that they were going to do this kind of thing. The next thing we had, I don't need his approval. Nobody is talking about approval. It's just information. Courtesy demands that you notify him, because at the end of the day,
working together,
it's the whole country that will suffer if you fail to get it right. And we have seen the CBN governor routinely fail to get it right with his policies. You and I are living witnesses. These are not things that anybody needs to tell you about. You travel, you know how difficult it is now to even access dollars and the rest. These are symptomatic of failure. And you need, as a result of that, you need to calm down, let other people be able to even offer suggestions as to how you can do it right. All they need to do is say, why don't you do it this way? Because I stand to be correct, I have not seen anywhere in the world where you change currency and you give people such a short time ceiling as we have done. And that is why people believe that this is meant to inflict pain. So, and the representatives of people are saying, extend. I'm sure he thought that, okay, when he gets there, they are going to, but it doesn't matter. Once you've been told, once you've been told to come, you have to face them. The law backs them. The law says that they can invite you. They can invite even the president. They can invite him, and the president is the father of all this. Is the number one in our country. They have power to invite the president. How much more of a CBN governor? So it's because he has disrespected them that you see people like Dogwa speaking in this manner. You've got to show respect to them and go before them, explain why you wanted to do this thing. The two groups could even come out smiling at the end of the day.
But it was said to have sent a representative. Is that enough?
See, the other time, he told them he was not in Nigeria. He said he was outside the country for an official assignment with the president. But now he's back, and they are telling him to come. He's in Nigeria. But then he went to Daura to get approval from the president. He cannot be treating the lawmakers with disdain and expect them to keep quiet. I mean, we are not only responsible to the president. We have three arms of government. That's why we have checks and balances. The legislature acts as a check and balance, and they have their oversight functions over that of the executive. That's why a president cannot spend money without approval from the National Assembly. Even the money the CBN is spending was appropriated by the National Assembly. So I see no reason why it should not cut them and go to them and explain. Now, Dogua quoted a section of the CBN Act that says that this Naira note, the one that is going out of circulation, is still legal tender 30 days after the thing must have expired.
All right. We'll take this break again. When we come back, we'll talk more. Stay with us.
How important is comfort to you?
Is it as important as the day you discovered that self-love is the start of good life? Here is a comfort that your self-love, Iderade, transit into your serenity. The opportunity awaits you on this peace of mind as you pay in installments of 24 months with initial deposit of 500,000 Naira. Serenity at its finest.
Haruna, Risi, Akman, Unduka, how will I want to do on election day?
On election day, I go take my PVC. When I reach where I vote to, I broom I go put my hand for Tinubu. On election day, I go take my PVC. When I reach where I vote to, I broom I go put my hand for Tinubu.
People of Nigeria, make we all come out on election day and vote Asiwaju Bola Tinubu as president. Make Nigeria for better. Make you put your hand for APC. If party wey show broom, no forget oh, na broom you go put your hand in. Bam!
On election day, I go take my PVC. When I reach where I vote to, I go put my hand for Tinubu.
Thank you for staying with us. Gino, reaching home stretch now. Now that it has been extended, the given 10-day extension, do you think the CBN should still attend to the summon of the CBN governor, to the summon of the National Assembly?
The extension has no relationship with the summon. He has to go there and explain why he has chosen to do this at this time and why the notice is so short. If the Britons, with all the advancement with the fact that they are ahead of us in infrastructure and everything, if they can give their people 2 years, why is it that it's Nigerians that should be subjected to this indecent haste? So he has to go before them. Going to the president and giving extension does not replace the summon that was issued. It's the National Assembly themselves who have disrespected themselves over the years. Honestly, I've said this before. They do not even use their power sufficiently. Honestly, this is the truth. If not, why should the CBN governor disrespect the Speaker of the House of Reps?
Number 4 citizen.
Number 4 in our country. Why? Where did he summon that courage from? Does it happen elsewhere? No matter how loyal you are to the number 1, you are obligated, once they summon you, you have to go before them and explain. It doesn't, it's not more than explanation. But you think that you can think for the rest of us and that your ideas are so rarefied that nobody can challenge them. No, now, we can't run a country like that. If people have reason to complain about your methods, listen to them. Let's hear what they have to say. There are experts in that National Assembly who have their own ideas.
Are they going to kill him there if he goes there? The worst that can happen
is... not masquerades.
The worst that can happen is if they don't like the way he answers them, they can pass a vote of no confidence. And you can appeal it and beg them. But not for you to abstain. It's like an insult. It's like you are hiding something. They keep asking you to come. You say you are out of the country. Now you are back. We can see that you are in the country.
Even when he sent someone the other day, that person couldn't answer all the questions.
All the questions. So that's why they say
she did not even know how many Naira notes that they are printing. No, that they have even said they should print. She didn't know. She couldn't answer all the questions. You know? So go yourself. Go and face them yourself.
All right. I want to thank you, Mojid Jami. Thank you for your contribution today.
Thank you.
And the master himself, Babajide Kolade Otitoju. Thank you for your contribution.
Thanks.
And that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11 p.m. Join us on Sunday for Journalist Hangout on Sunday. Up next is Election Countdown. It's 25 days to the 2023 general election. We'll be right back after this time out.
Aruna, Bisi, Akman, Unduka, how will I want to do on election day?
On election day, I go take my PVC. When I reach where I vote to, I broom and go put my hand for Tinubu. On election day, I go take my PVC. When I reach where I vote to, I broom and go put my hand for Tinubu.
People of Nigeria, make we all come out on election day and vote Asiwaju Bola Tinubu as president. Make Nigeria for better. Make you put your hand for APC. If party wey show broom, no forget oh, now broom you go put your hand in. Bam!
On election day, I go take my PVC. When I reach where I vote to, I go put my hand for Tinubu.
The following is a paid presentation by ShopX TV. Happy New Year! ShopX TV is proud to bring you a very special offer. Yes, from now till January 31st, 2023, we are offering our customers an opportunity to save up to 66% of our best-selling kiddies product. Struggling with energetic kids, but you just can't get them to sleep? You need Happy Nappers, the perfect plate pillows that pull open to a sleepy sack surprise. With a simple pull and zip, your child can snuggle up and nap inside of it.
They are happy, happy nappers. They love to sleep and play with you.
Then, when it's time to sleep, you just pull on their feet. Sleepy time, playtime, anytime is happy napper time. And when the napping is done, they fold back in for even more fun. Ordinarily, play pillows or blankets are not as much fun. They don't hold the heat in, unlike happy nappers. Just look at the fun characters that your kids will love. And the sleep sacks are completely enclosed to keep your child warm and cozy during nap times or even through the night.